I remember when President Trump won his election 4 years ago. We're not done there, are we? No. And people in the FBI, people in the State Department, people in all kinds of government agencies, and people in the media all started the resistance movement. I started hearing that word resist. So I think it's time for us to resist. Yeah. Time for us to depoliticize something that's a medical problem, not a political problem. We need to depoliticize it. We need to begin to resist. Amen. It's time to protect those suffering from isolation, suicidality, alcoholism, divorce, domestic violence, education. Oh, by the way, another statistic. You know that if you have a kid in private school like Governor Newsom, 97% of those kids are going to get full-time instruction. You know how many percent of kids that go to public schools get full-time instruction? 3%. So from all of that, it's time for us to resist. It's time for government to stop trying to criminalize people that just want to keep their businesses open, just want to send their kids to school, just want to protect the Constitution of the United States. It's time for us to resist. Thank you for having me here today. Let's all resist together. God bless.
Thank you, Mayor Bill Wells. Let's give him a big round of applause again. Right now we have Channel 8 doing a mic change right here. All right, keeping that energy going. This time, when I say open, you say Cali. Got it?
Got it.
Open.
Cali!
Open.
Cali!
Open.
Cali!
All right, our next speaker today is the mayor of Coronado, Richard Bailey.
What's going on, San Diego? Hey, do you all remember when the state of California tried to shut down our beaches even though no one ever caught COVID from surfing? And now they're trying to shut down our small businesses, even though the very small businesses they're trying to close are not actually contributing to the spread based on the data available at the County of San Diego. Yeah. Bad policy to close down the beaches. It's a bad policy to criminalize small business owners. For the last several months, we've been given this false choice by our representatives that we have to choose between saving lives and reopening businesses. They say that all of us here must not care about lives if we want to get back to work. But the truth of the matter is that of course we care. We care about every life lost. We care about everyone that gets sick. We also care about the kids whose only hope at a better future is to get an education, but they're now falling further and further behind. We care about the number of people that are suffering from depression and substance abuse and poverty. But we also care about the small business owners that are now being faced with this impossible choice of closing up shop, possibly for good, or risking fines from the very government that's supposed to be representing them. We care about the tens of thousands of workers that are now out of work, without a paycheck, that are wondering how are they going to keep a roof over their head and food on the table for their families. The truth is we care about everyone. I know all of us here care about everyone. It is true that the case numbers are rising. It is true that the hospitalizations are rising. But it is also true that the vast majority of transmissions are now coming from the very businesses that they are trying to close right now.
Exactly.
So if our objective is to slow the spread of the virus, then why are we closing the businesses that are not responsible for the spread? The real question is, why are these case numbers rising? And we know the answer. We expected these numbers to rise as they typically would rise in the fall and winter time, as most viruses do, as people retreat inside based on the weather and due to the holidays. And we know that based on the data, that the numbers are rising due to gatherings completely unassociated with the very businesses that are being protected. So let's stop punishing the businesses. that are doing everything right for their customers and for their workers. They have invested thousands of dollars and hours of training to protect their customers and workers with new protocols. The truth of the matter is that we cannot and that we must not allow these bad policies to continue. We can have a better policy that protects lives and livelihoods, and if we are truly all in this together, then we need to call upon our representatives at the county and the state to create a policy that actually acknowledges that. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you so much, Mayor Bailey. Hey everybody, this is my 9-year-old son right here. This is the reason why we are all doing this, for a better future for our kids. All right, so this time around, I'm going to say open, you're going to say schools. All right? Open schools. Open schools. Open schools. All right, thank you. Our next guest right now, speaker, is Justin Hart. He makes regular appearances on KUSI News, and he is a data expert. Give a big round of applause to Justin Hart.
Thanks, Amy. Can you guys all hear me in the back there? I'm going to speak a little loud. I heard from my wife. Give a shout out to my wife and 2 kids there. Oh, there she is in the back there. Thank you so much all for being here. 400 years ago, a real plague hit the world. And over in Europe, they were suffering mightily. Italy took a big grunt of it. And they were so scared of this disease, which killed 1 out of every 2 people who got it. Imagine those stats. And they were so concerned and so worried about it that they started making up things in their head. They thought that there were foreign infiltrators who were purposely washing the walls in town to spread the disease further. They felt really, really concerned about this. And one day in a church, they saw an older man brush off his pew there in the chapel. Immediately, someone from a distance thought, he's washing the bench. He's washing the bench. He's trying to spread the disease. They took him outside and they beat him to death. I don't want any of that to happen here, but you can see the tension which our leaders are causing by their failed policies.
Yes.
I want you to remember 50, 50, 50, okay? And these are things you can recite off the top of your head when someone tells you what happens, because there is this concept, as we call it, of butterflies and hurricanes. You know this one, right? A butterfly flaps between here and San Diego, and somewhere way across the world, maybe in Russia, maybe somewhere else, a hurricane starts, right? You don't know the impact of the policies you put in until you see the effect, and it is a hurricane. 50, 50, 50, 50% of all cancer diagnoses during the peak of the pandemic went undiagnosed. When we looked at the stats, we thought, oh my gosh, these cancer diagnoses this year are really down. That's not the case. COVID didn't cure cancer. No. It was 50% down because people weren't going to the hospital. That's for your first 50. Your second 50, 50% of chemo treatments were missed because people were afraid to go to the hospitals or because it was deemed unessential. I'm sure certain of you know people who have suffered from COVID. You may even know someone who had died from COVID. I bet every one of you can think of someone over this last year who has died from cancer that maybe you didn't expect. Now, I will also say another 50, and this one's personal because I have a child. 50% of immunizations missed, even the good ones, right? And it was really tough. It's like, that has a statistical impact on everything going forward. Butterflies and hurricanes. I just got a note from someone up in Orange County. I want to read this to you because it's impactful and it affects all of us here, and it's just really, really tragic. He says, Justin, I live in the OC. Both of my elderly parents died this year. 4 months apart. Dad from an undiagnosed glioblastoma in June, and Mom from undiagnosed artery blockage causing a stroke last week. 4 months apart. They locked down, and they were afraid to go out at all, even for medical care. Our family is devastated, and they will never be the same. You know, they say that it takes about 10,000 hours to become an expert in any profession, whether you're a violist or an academic, an accountant. 10,000 hours to become an expert in what you do. Our children have lost at least 1,000 hours of in-person learning. They can't get that back. They cannot retrieve that back. And so we're going to have to live with that. We're going to have to boost them extra hard. but we're also going to have to fight really strong to convince our neighbors and convince the people behind us that this needs to open, it needs to change dramatically. 50, 50, 50. Remember those. You can cite those stats off the top of your head. 50 cancers undiagnosed, 50% of chemo treatments missed, 50% of immunizations missed. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. And you can find me online. You can find us all there. Reach out to other friends. Make it happen. The stats do not speak for them. All right? The data and the truth is on our side. You need to recognize that this is, in many cases, a challenging disease, but we know who it is challenging for. And we can protect them in the right way, because once you try to protect everybody, as we've come to realize, you protect no one. Exactly. Thank you all for being here. Let's make it happen.
Thank you, Justin Hart. We've had representatives from all over this beautiful county. So today, Ramona is in the house. Peter San Nicolas, an owner of a gym in Ramona. Give him a big hand.
Well, you probably know me as the guy that got the 5 misdemeanors. And actually, we went camping somewhere, and some lady recognized that you're the guy with the 5 misdemeanors. Well, I guess that's something to be proud of. There's Gary there, my attorney. But actually, I got those dropped. I did a few things, and the county actually finally, they dropped those. And they actually did it pretty quickly and easily, which was, I don't know, made me think about it a little bit. Why would they give me these misdemeanors but drop them after a couple days of just doing a few little things in my business? But I actually want to tell you a little bit of history about who I am and why I own Ramona Fitness Center. I actually started working out at this gym when I was 11 years old. I came from a home of drug addiction and alcoholism. Both parents in and out of rehab. And I was frustrated. I was very frustrated with my mom, and I wanted her to get better, and I just couldn't, so I was upset. I got in a lot of fights, punched a lot of holes in walls. So she, being the source of my problem, she bought me a membership to Ramona Fitness Center at 11 years old, 1991. And later, I was able to buy that gym. Unfortunately, my mom didn't make it. She died. She overdosed of drug and alcohol. She overdosed. So, unfortunately, that happened. But at 21, I had a dream of buying my own business. Actually, it was at 14 years old I wanted to buy this gym. I started working there at 16. But at 21, I was able to buy it. And I want to reach out and I want to talk to each of the business owners. Who's a business owner? Raise your hand. Okay, so there's a few, maybe 10%. And I want to reach out to you because, you know what? It is a little scary going against the government. It's a big entity, and they've got lots of power, and they want to intimidate you. And unfortunately, they came after us gym guys, and us gym guys are, I think, a little bit different because 20 of us are also fighting back against that. But, so we can't let the government erase our dreams and what we wanted to do with our business. If it was a restaurant, or if it was a salon, or if it was a bar, or whatever it is, we can't let the government erase that. And I had a dream when I was 14 years old to buy this gym and to change people's lives through fitness. And we just cannot. We can't. We have to stand up. And I'm just reaching out to those business owners. You've got to stand up. If we roll back the tape of the media back to the beginning, what was the goal? Flatten the curve. Was it flatten the curve of deaths? I think it was flatten the curve of people dying. And they had the death toll rolling every day. And somewhere along the line, people stopped dying as much. And so they started putting up the cases. And they keep changing, you know, what's the goal? And we can't keep changing the goal. And there's a cost, obviously. Justin, wherever he is, he actually was on KUSI a couple days ago, and there is a cost. I think he said fentanyl overdoses are up 300%. I did a little research online, and I found that suicides in some areas are up 900%. So there is a cost. if we're talking about saving lives, locking down isn't going to save lives. It's going to cost more lives. Yes. For every $10 to $24 million of Americans' income, as a total, as that drops, 7,200 lives will be lost to suicides, to domestic violence, to child abuse, to all of those things that we've been talking about. So how does that work? Okay, we're going to shut down to save, yes, every life is important, but we're going to shut down to save 10 lives, but we're going to cost thousands more lives in these other things. So we just can't do that. We can't do it. And I'm challenging every small business owner to remember your dream of helping people and to not shut down, to keep your business open. Yes, come on. We got to. So yes, the cases are rising, and I think we had our highest ever day of cases, but the death rate remains stable at about 920.